85% of jobs are filled through networking.
I believe it.
It's that concept of, not what you do, but who you know.
Yeah.
And I really do believe in that. Networking has been everything to me and really it literally has brought me to every one of my jobs that I've had. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Vet Reset. I'm Dr. Sandra Siegel.
And I'm Dr. Whitney Terrell.
Today, we're going to talk about building strong connections in vet life, which I think is critical for our sanity, our happiness, our gratefulness, all of the good things
for life.
So we'll start talking about the importance of community. I think that's a big one. And there's lots of different ways you can form your community. And I think especially after the pandemic, this has become even more important as people have felt that real isolation, and now coming in, and we're kind of in post-recovery of that, the importance of building community and that feeling of connectedness. What are some of the things that you feel like has been really important for you in establishing communities, or maybe some examples of communities that you're either a part of or have formed yourself?
Yeah. So I think it is very important to have a community, have a group of people that you can talk to about your work, about, the stresses that you face. Because a lot of times people outside of the vet med community is not really going to get it. They also might not want to hear it. I know my husband, who is not a vet, anytime I try to talk to him about this really cool case, I had this huge mass. Oh, no, don't talk to me about that. Oh,
we're eating dinner.
We're eating. Right. It's always, but that's when you talk about stuff,
Exactly.
So it's always really refreshing when you go out with other vets or anyone in the vet med community and are able to just have those discussions about maggots and fleas and stuff while you're eating pizza.
Right.
Just because it's, it's lighthearted and you can vent, you can take a load off and stuff. So for me, I really started, aside from just my own practice, really started finding that community in social media. So during the pandemic, we really had that feeling of isolation for a lot of people. And
it was very real.
Yeah, very real. And even though a lot of the veterinary practices still remain open and people are at work, we still weren't seeing people and patients and stuff like we typically would. And then there were strict measurements, to try to keep everyone safe. And it was a scary time. It's still scary, but thankfully it's gotten a little bit better maybe. But during that time, that's when I really started getting into social media, because everyone's down and sick or worried about somebody getting sick. I was pregnant actually at the time, so I was a wreck. Wow. And that's when I actually started getting into making TikTok videos, and it was really crazy. And once started gaining a following on TikTok, then I started becoming more and more connected with other people in the vet med community, other vets, other techs that got it.
Yeah.
And being able to laugh with each other, cry with each other, and then just share those experiences of, having to deal with the screaming husky in the back or trying to do a pug nail trim.
Right.
And sharing those experiences that not everyone's gonna get was really good, and it brought us together. And thankfully we've got that community still through multiple platforms, and we're able to collaborate. We're able
share ideas.
Share ideas.
Yeah.
It's
or
great.
Successes of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we get to meet up at conferences, which is really great. So not only are we, DMing each other, Snapchatting or whatever, we plan trips to where we can meet. And I will never forget that the first time I met pretty much all of my social media friends was at WVC, Western Veterinary Conference. And I just remember walking into the exhibit hall because we were all going to try to meet up, and walking in and seeing people's faces. And it was like, I already knew them. They were my friends.
Yeah.
And so walking in and be like, hey,
Yeah.
and I mean, just instant connection. I mean, it's just, we've known each other for a long time, and just getting that connection was so great. And I think it's so important to be able to have something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it enhances your everyday and that sense of belonging. I think the community piece is so important in that, feeling you're not alone, that you have people even across the bazillions of miles, that you have people that you're sharing experiences with that are going through similar things. And it's a very strong need I think all of us have. And I think it's really cool that you were able to establish this through an online presence or a social media presence. So, and it just shows the power of that, these were people that you didn't meet, but you already had that connection.
And if I would have never really done social media and gotten into it, I would have never really met these super awesome people that are now my friends and colleagues. And, I can meet up with them at conferences, make conferences more fun.
Right.
It's always fun to go with a friend.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just, you think about what you could have missed out on if I didn't have this opportunity. I took the risk. I
let's just
made a fool of myself, and it gave me these connections that I have now.
It paid off big time. I think connected with that, like having a strong community, whether it is on social media or maybe it's your local town, or, I think there are a lot of smaller vet clinics out there that have a really strong presence in their local towns, and having that community feel there is really important. Also through other groups, you can establish that sense of community through joining different groups, something that resonates with you.
Yeah,
and being a part of something bigger.
Yeah, I think something like even your local veterinary medical associations are important, because I remember talking to one of the vets that works at another practice, and we had a kind of Christmas get together with the local VMA, and he had a very good point to where we shouldn't ever think of ourselves as competitors. We shouldn't ever think of ourselves as competitors. We're colleagues.
Yeah.
And that was just that really resonated with me. And, I think sometimes whenever we get stuck in the business mindset, it can be hard to not think that way. But we're all in this together. It is a small world, especially a small veterinary world. And to be able to have those connections, I can't tell you how many times we have called, especially one clinic that's close to us. Hey, we're almost out of Bordetella vaccines. Do y'all have any that we can borrow and replace?
Yeah.
Or, and vice versa. And so that community, and I don't know if that's necessarily just where I am, that small town feel. Right. I hope it's like that everywhere, to where you are a community that is there to help pets. So if one clinic's in need, to just, hopefully help out
for each other. Yeah, my experience was in corporate practice, as you know, but we would have a healthy competition with each other, where we're all very close in the area, but it would be like, our team did this many dentals today. How many did you do? Yeah. So it was fun, healthy competition, but we were literally always there for each other for That's hey, good. I have this case. What, being able to call somebody and be like, get some advice or guidance, or, hey, we're running out of this. Can we borrow, vaccines or something like that? So I think that's a really nice way to have that rapport with your other local vets and have that community be super close. Let's talk a little bit more about networking in the veterinary field, because that I think is there's some interesting things in here, and one of the data points that we have that I wanted to spin off of was that a study from LinkedIn shows that 85% of jobs are filled through networking.
I believe it.
And it's that concept of, not what you do, but who you know.
Yeah.
And I really do believe in that, even for like me being in industry now, that networking has been everything to me and really has, it literally has brought me to every one of my jobs that I've had. And it's, who I knew, or like connecting with someone who told me about an opportunity, and also being able to advance in your career, and having that network of professionals around you that are looking out for each other, and really being able to build your career through that networking.
Well, it's how we got connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
We knew the same person, and she's like, "Hey, I think that y'all should meet and get together, and maybe have some cool opportunities for both of you." So, I mean, just making those connections and getting to know people in all avenues, not just clinical practice, but industry, research, and stuff, because you never know when that might come in handy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's a really great point, to be able, like, we're in veterinary medicine, but there's all different aspects of it. So, reaching out that community, it can even be on your personal side, whether it's like a church community or something like that, but also, a little bit outside of the vet field.
Yeah.
So it's, you just never know what you can learn from other people, and having those connections, and look where we are. Right here.
Absolutely.
So
I think one of my, I feel like I have so many examples of how this is important. I know I had just a week or two ago, one of the vets in our area emailed me and was just like, "Hey, do you have anyone, like any applications for a veterinary assistant or a receptionist, because we are short and we need that." And like, I'll look and see what we have, we'll send them over. But being able to have, that type of relationship, like you said, networking is how, a lot of the jobs are filled. And so using those connections and stuff to, someone's getting a career out of that, or is getting a job for sure.
Another interesting thing is that building a strong professional network can lead to improved patient outcomes.
Absolutely.
That's kind of an interesting point, because it's through that collaborative learning, resource sharing, and pretty much like expanding your knowledge base, and like bringing in new things that you may not have thought of before. Whether it's social media and that network, or something else, like really being able to bring it back then to improve patient outcomes. Is there anything from your perspective that you've experienced whether this network that you've had from social media, or even maybe from your contacts from Europe when you were in Dublin at school, that you keep those strong networks that has helped you?
Yeah, so I've definitely got connections and stuff from there. I would like to say that with my practice right now, I think that goes, the strong relationships among staff can improve collaboration and patient care. I think that is so true, because with the staff that we have, I don't, there's the whole, our clinic is like a family, and that's a lot of times a red flag, because there's could definitely be a lot of toxicity surrounding that statement. So we try to not have that statement a lot. I kept telling my office manager, "Stop telling people that." But I think because there are fewer number of staff members, but also we've just learned, I feel like, everything about each other. We know, who's married to who and how many kids you have. And, we have their kids come in and they get to experience, vet life. And we get to know everybody on a deep personal level. And I think that's helped us to have better patient outcomes and better compassion. And I think that our clients see that we all get along, we cut up and, laugh and have fun. We make TikTok
you can
videos.
Feel that when you come in.
Absolutely. And that's the type of practice I want to have. I want to have a practice where the staff feels comfortable to come in, to be themselves, to work hard, but have fun while doing it. Because, this is a very hard job and emotionally tolling job. And to be able to, just have someone there that you can depend on is great. And like the data says, it can improve, outcomes in patient care. For just making connections and stuff, one of the biggest things that I wanted whenever I chose going to vet school, I did want to explore and get out of my little southern bubble. Now, while yes, I think some of the vet schools that were in my area were excellent, I was so happy and proud of being able to go overseas and go to vet school there, because now not only do I have friends that are local and have those local connections, I now have connections all over the world.
Yeah.
So I have people in Ireland, Australia, different places in Europe. So it's really cool to be able to make those connections, and it's helped me out. Because oftentimes, as you know, in industry, a lot of products come out elsewhere before they come out in the States. A lot of times the UK tends to get products out before we do. And I've been able to ask some of my friends over in the UK and Ireland, hey, have you been using this
like?
already?
Yeah.
What is this like? How's your experience with it? Any side of it? So it's really good to have those connections, and it benefits me in my practice by having those connections.
Yeah. I agree. Like when I started in industry, actually my first job in industry was in Germany. So I was there and started my career there, just up and moved, and thought I'd be there a couple years, and I was there for 5 years. So, which was great. And,
beautiful.
And I was able to meet, individuals from in animal health industry, but like in different countries, and understand how practices work in different countries. What are the limitations? What are the differences that with regulatory issues and things like that, and really meet people that were super passionate, and keep those connections, so that as I'm like moving through my career, I can like call those people and ask them on their experiences, and just have that network as you navigate through your own career. And it's a very small world, the vet med world. So it's I think we talked about the Kevin Bacon before. But it's just a few degrees of separations. And I think that networking piece can really enhance your career. It can allow you to make any like changes you want to, or even have opportunities that you never thought would exist, that you're like, oh, this opportunity's here. Here's a door open. I'm going to walk through it, and then take you to a whole different place that you didn't know, and give you a different focus on things. So it's just really nice to be able to like call on those people and really build that out.
Yeah. And you never know, again, be bold and try new things, meet new people, because without me being very silly on social media, I would have not made the connections that I've made today. I wouldn't have been able to speak to students at the vet school.
Right.
I wouldn't be on this podcast.
Yep.
So making those, connections can really open doors to new opportunities that you never knew were available.
Yeah, I love that. And so there's social media, other opportunities people can get connected are local ones. We talked about that. Conferences, any of the big conferences, of course, like getting involved in those, and, being able to go to those where you can. I think there are lots of opportunities there for people to meet up, and different organizations you can be a part of.
Yes.
And
you've got to go to conferences, and the small local conferences are always nice because you can meet people around the community, but I highly recommend going to one that is either a destination one. They've got really cool destination ones, or things like VMX and WVC, which VMX is in Orlando. You've got Disney, University. There's a lot of opportunities there. You've got WVC that's in Vegas. So there's a lot of really cool locations that you can meet lots of people from all over the world, once again. And and just have fun. Those are fun places to visit.
And to learn.
And oh yeah, that too.
So we talked a lot about networking and community in the greater scheme. I think there's also some really great nuggets to talk about community internally inside your own teams and in your practice. And this can be through lots of different ways. Is there something specifically that you have had the experience with that, where networking and community has been really important to a team member?
Yeah, we've definitely had team members that have had friends that were like, hey, I have a friend that is looking for a job. Is there a position open? I've actually had a friend that didn't actually work at the practice that I'm at, but another practice nearby. And we're kind of family friends. And she reached out and said at first she was thinking about going to vet school. And then she changed her mind. She said, I think I'm actually curious about industry. And she asked if I had any contacts and stuff because, she knew that I did a lot of the business side of things with our practice. And so I was able to give her a rep's number, or reached out to the rep, made sure that was okay. And so now they've gotten connected. So, it's really good. And it's someone that I see often, both the rep and the friend. So it was really great. And it felt good for me to be able to help them out.
Yes, I think networking is really important on the level of team members also, and getting to know each other, and even if someone's moving or whatever, to be able to have that connection and move their career or go into a different part of their career. And I think that's great.
So there's been a lot of positives from networking in our practice, in our community, but there's also people that don't seek that out, and there's barriers or maybe personality differences that kind of hinder them from reaching that type of job transition. Have you experienced that or seen that in practice or industry?
I definitely think that it just kind of like how to overcome those barriers, or maybe someone may not feel like they're part of a bigger network, and where do you start? I think that's a common question that I hear of, like people starting in their careers, of like how do you start with that networking? And it's just asking that question, and asking people and putting yourself out there. And it doesn't have to be a big put yourself out there. It's just, asking a question. And I think that automatically then connects, then like say it's us talking and you have someone that you're like, oh, I have a friend who does this. And then you can, and it starts that connection. So I think the first probably big barrier is
yourself.
Probably overcoming the blocks that you put in front of yourself. Just asking questions and deciding like, yes, I want to grow my network, and making that an active thing. Because it can't be a passive thing. It's not like, I guess some people might have that just kind of come to them, but I think it has to be very active, and you like put your step forward and ask for that. Like whether it's, you can start by asking for a mentor, or like, asking even someone like, hey, would you be my mentor? And there's nothing wrong with that. And really just, taking that first step. I think that's probably the biggest piece. And then it kind of just flows from there. And that's the great thing about networking. I think it's like from one person to another. And on that local level, in the practice level, it's, we know many people in different clinics. And so there's that ability to be able to connect others, that, whether they're looking for jobs or wanting to change a career.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always going to be word of mouth, and now there's social media, and there's other like various platforms and stuff out there that you can use to help network or job search and, put references and whatnot.
Yeah. So. Yeah. There's even software that can help with that. Hound is one of them that you're able to do that. And it's really great, veterinary software that can really enhance retention in your clinic or help with relief. And it's something really unique that helps with that networking. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Vet Reset. We hope you found our discussion on building strong connections in the veterinary world valuable, from enhancing teamwork in the clinic to importance of networking.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing and following us on social media. We appreciate your feedback. Feel free to leave a rating or comment and share your own experiences with building connections in your career.
Don't forget to share this episode with other veterinary friends who are eager to learn and grow. Remember, it's never too late to reset and strengthen those personal and professional connections.